Thank you so much, Your Excellencies, Mr. Chairman, his leadership team, esteemed colleagues. It's an honor for me and for UL to continue our partnerships. We are grateful and we share a common goal, which is to make the world a safer place. And at UL, we use safety science. My name is Scott Weiskopf. I'm part of the testing, inspection, and certification part of UL Solutions, and I run smart buildings and smart services. And really, those are kind of horizontal, holistic claims verification and eventually certifications on how smart is my facility, how good are the experiences, how resilient is it, how cyber secure is it, how interoperable and connected is it. And so we go in and we do these evaluations, and we've partnered with some of the people in the room. I've been at UL 3.5 months, so still learning our business. But today I wanted to share what led me to UL and maybe take a sidestep from just the safety-only focus and talk about smart buildings, smart campus, and smart cities. I had the honor of working at Microsoft before this for 18 years, and my last 2 roles were around leading a center of innovation for the commercial real estate team, 35 million square feet, 600 buildings in 112 countries. And we had a charter which was to have the most connected, sustainable, inclusive, and safe and secure campuses around the world, and to provide world-class experiences for our employees, guests, and visitors. So I wanted to share some of the learnings. Some of those came through scars and some of them came through joy. But I wanted to share my experiences with that, and that led me to take these services and take this new position at UL. So with that, one of the most important things is we were building a $4.5 billion campus in Redmond, Washington, 17 new buildings. And it was going to require an operational delivery model, partnerships like with some of my esteemed colleagues here today. And how do you tie all that together? What's an operational delivery model and a way to approach extracting and getting the desired outcomes? And our desired outcomes were 3 things. Create world-class experiences at this new facility, optimize building operations, things like ESG, performance, natural resource consumption, and then managing and helping the investment people at Microsoft. Where should we build the next building? Where should we consolidate now post-pandemic? Provide them with data and services that will help them with decisions along that way. So there, as you can see here, there are 2 things to consider simultaneously, and it's very important to marry these 2 things together to get it right. And we made plenty of mistakes and we had plenty of learning. But the 2 things are, you can see here, world-class employee experiences are comprehensive. My day starts at my house, all my journey through all of our facilities, and then back to my house. So we need to consider the customer journey and experience of guests and employees, and that has to be supported and can only be enabled by an N-tier architecture or infrastructure that includes the physical building itself, the core and shell of the facilities, things like I need Cat5 cable, I need energy resource, I need a BMS. The systems and platforms that lie on top of that, they could be fire safety systems, they could be occupancy systems, they could be access control systems, IAQ sensors, things like that. But if I don't marry these 2 things together, I won't get the desired business outcomes. And really what we learned is you have to take an outside-in approach. You start with the user journey and the value you're trying to provide your users, and that should affect literally the angle that I might place my building in a certain environment, which might be very different in Abu Dhabi than in Redmond, Washington, because of weather, because of natural resources, and so forth. And then go up and down this stack and try and come up with a comprehensive operational model for keeping all of this together and optimizing. And I'll cover that in just a minute. So if we start with the end-to-end experiences, we worked with Boston Consulting Group and did user journey work. If you're familiar with it's requirements gathering, it's doing hundreds of interviews, it's understanding What is the experience of somebody? And here you can see typical campus experiences and guest experiences include things like, I need to get to the campus from my home. So what are my public and private transportation options? Maybe Cybec provides shuttles to its employees. So can I see the schedule? And I'm used to things like Uber. And if, so I want to see where is this shuttle? When's the next one coming? Then I also may drive to this campus. So where should I park? I need parking guidance systems. If I break a geofence, where are the available spots, right? When I park my car and you're old like me, you forget where you parked it. So can it geolocate my car so when I go home at the end of the day, I can find it? So these are all services. When I arrive, if I've pre-registered, can I print my own badge and get my own access? Can it notify the person I'm visiting if I'm a visitor? Or am I going to have an automated attendant in off hours? Am I going to have a lobby host? So what are those experiences? And when I enter the building, I want to know where I need to go. Where is my next meeting? So we want to supply pathfinding and wayfinding. I'm used to going on my phone and doing turn-by-turn navigation. How do you implement that, and how do you support that? So you can see it includes things like individual and team productivity. How do I find a hybrid inclusive room? Because half of my colleagues on this call are in Abu Dhabi, and half are in Riyadh, and another half is a third, I can't have three halves, are in Europe. So I need a room that can help the physically present people and the remote people dialing in on, let's say, something like Teams or Zoom, to find the right room to optimize that collaboration. And then everybody's used to ordering food ahead. So can I have a campus app that surfaces menus if I have dietary restrictions? How do I order my food and then just go to the cafeteria and pick it up so I don't waste time standing in line? And these are expectations people have from their regular consumer experiences. So this is how you deliver and think about end-to-end user experiences. But then how does that affect how I'm going to build a campus? So I have to think, are the buildings in proximity to each other? Is there any public or private roads when I'm building that I need to consider for safety and with the local jurisdictions? And then infrastructure. So if I'm going to have a smart building, I'm going to want to understand, do I need to have a I want to have a BMS, but what other systems and infra? Do I need Cat5 cable? Do I need low voltage or high voltage running through the building? So I want to have BIM, digital twins, and a common data environment that my architects, my designers, space designers, they're all operating something like Autodesk BIM 360. We can all share, and I can eliminate collisions. I can eliminate change requests before a shovel ever hits the ground. And all of that should be based on supporting and extracting value in those experiences I presented in the last slide. So if you think about back-of-house personas, the people that have to run a campus, there are multiple personas that consider this. And then I have to have systems like the fire safety system over here. Or I want to have access control systems. I want to have occupancy sensing systems. I want to have one-touch rooms and Teams room systems to enable meetings and individual and team productivity. So this is an N-tiered stack, and most important, I have to deliver that through experiences, mobile experiences, desktop experiences, kiosk experiences. All of it have to land not as a fragmented mess at the person who's consuming that. So we had to develop a campus application that integrated and brought all this together in a coherent way. So those end-to-end experiences influence this infrastructure and this N-tier thing, which was how we constructed our campus. These back-of-house personas include IFM and building maintenance people, so the JLLs, the CBREs, the Cushman Wakefields, and company employees that have to run and manage those buildings. It also impacts HR and IT. So IT is usually providing secure networks and cybersecurity and connectivity. So they're engaged in building this infrastructure. And HR really cares about employee experiences and guest experiences, because especially in technology, you're fighting to retain and attract the best talent. So they do want to know their buildings are safe, their air quality is good, they can easily navigate, they're effectively moving around space, they can connect with people, do serendipitous learning. So HR is a stakeholder. Often they're the global experience owners, not necessarily IT or the facilities teams. And then logistics. I move people, I supply people, I take in food, I have to move stuff around the campus. I have to consider all that in this. Space optimization and planning, especially post-pandemic, people have to consolidate. So what kind of information can I provide? What is my utilization? Which spaces are being used? Which types are being underutilized? And then if I'm the finance and investment person in the office of the CFO and I have to figure out where am I going to put my next data center? Where am I going to put my next commercial facility? How many people does it need to accommodate? So financial people. So all of those back of house personas need to be supported as well, not just the users and guests. So the big learning we got out of that is we needed an operational model that brought all of that together, and it encompassed 305 user stories, and they were in the user's voice. I want to come in and order food. I want to be able to pick it up without waiting in line. I want to come in and know that the CO2 and breathable air and particulate matter, it's a healthy environment for me. So we ended up with 305 user stories from all that journey work, and we needed a way to organize them to figure out how to put it in an operational delivery model. And so this is a summary of that, and we've published this publicly, so there's nothing proprietary here. But basically you can see the front of house, the guests, the individuals who are visiting, we grouped 31 different subsets of those 305 user stories into these pillars. Movement. So what's my transportation options? What are my parking options? What are my real-time wayfinding and pathfinding options? Access control. How do I get into buildings? How do I get a badge? How can I effectively allow the right people to the right places in real time and protect the safety and integrity of our buildings and campus? Productivity. How can I get you from your car to your meeting room and from your meeting room to the cafe and from the cafe to amenity or a point of interest effectively? Because every minute I return to you is something you could do with a higher value activity. So individual focus, so individual work points, meeting rooms, desks, special hybrid rooms, and then wellness, health and wellness, so particulate matter, CO2, humidity, all of those things, indoor air quality sensing, and automatically adjusting the environment to keep everybody healthy. So those are the front of house things we're delivering for people. And on the back of house, we mentioned space performance. So what's my space utilization? How do I do occupancy planning? What's my space strategy? And then designing and building. How do I pull all that information of what I need to deliver into my digital building life cycle, starting in pre-planning and going all the way through the 20 years I'm gonna operate that facility. So from the beginning to the end, I have to understand and support all of those services. And then operate, there are people that have to operate those facilities. Somebody has to change the light bulb. Somebody has to make sure the facilities are supplied with toilet paper. Somebody has to make sure that there's enough salads on Tuesday, right? So all of those logistics and the people that have to scale services need data. How much food do I need? Do I have enough parking spots? Do I need more electric charging stations? Am I under or over capacity? And then lastly, protect, which I know is a huge topic at this session. So it's operational and cyber security, right? So operational security are things like executive protection, investigations, physical and operational security, security operations centers, alerts, and so forth. So underpinning that are some of the critical things that horizontally have to be factored into every one of these pillars. And one of those is sustainability. So ESG is a huge topic, especially now, right? There's limited power and huge demand. So I want to also have the least impact from a carbon and natural resource perspective. So every one of these pillars and every experience, I have to figure out how do I optimize and collect data that moves my ESG efforts and my resource efforts forward? How do I minimize energy consumption, optimize minimize grid resilience and my impact on the environment? The other one is accessibility. Every single application we built, every single infrastructure, things like textured ground so people that could not see or had vision issues and braille everywhere, right? If you had a mobility issue, how could I call an elevator or get into a building if I were wheelchair bound, right? So accessibility also applies to applications and experiences. I may need to have voice prompts to navigate applications to get the information I need. I may need audio. So we factored accessibility into everything. In the world of inclusiveness, we have to include everybody. And Microsoft, we had accessibility standards that needed to be met, and we often surpassed legal and regulatory. And then lastly, you're going to hear about this probably from other people, we needed a digital integration platform. We were going to put in 90,000 different sensors into those 17 buildings. They were BMS signals, they were Teams rooms device signals, they were occupancy signals, they were access control system badge reader signals. It's great to have all that technology, but how do I amortize those investments along horizontal experiences, and how do I provide actionable insights back? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. We had to build our own digital integration platform, but we talked to our friends here at Honeywell, at JCI about OpenBlue. We talked about Honeywell Forge. We talked to Siemens about their emerging Building X. This is years ago, and a lot of those things were nascent. So we actually built our own data integration platform, and eventually we partnered and started to utilize others. But this is where I wanted to get in that conversation. Without that integrated data platform and without that rationalization of the data, one, I can't run AI models and use machine learning insights. And secondly, I can't extract and amortize the investment I just made in all of the networking and all of those devices and all the data that I have to collect, store, and compute. So if you think about it, a data integration platform, it's critical to do these steps to the right here. I have to acquire data, and then I have to do data standardization. I was talking to Omnicon, and we were talking about a lot of these BMSs and other on BACnet protocol, all these proprietary protocols. So I need to standardize the data, and I need to fix it into a data model where a customer is a customer and a device is a device. And so I have to rationalize all that, and I have to put it into a safe, secure data model on a building ontology. Because if I'm running a building, I need to know the device you're talking about is in which building, in which location, on what floor, and what zone of the building, and where is it geolocated, and can I get the real-time telemetry off of that? And the two telemetries that mattered in optimizing these experiences were real-time telemetry off IoT devices to troubleshoot things or to do navigation. If I have a BLE network, I need real-time location to help guide you through the building. And then time series is absolutely critical, historical data. And so the four key areas that we used AI and machine learning, you're probably familiar with these, but I wanted to give you a couple of examples where having an integrated platform, I'm sorry, the last part is when I run my AI and ML models over that data and I have that tied to an ontology, I need to be able to syndicate out those insights to apps and experiences. So if I wanted to tell my colleague, hey, Thursday is the best day for you to come in because your team's going to be in here because we're on a hybrid schedule, I have to deliver that through an application. I either set it up through a meeting or a recommendation on Outlook Exchange or Microsoft Teams or whatever your company uses. But I need to be able to not only run the insights, but they need to be actionable and syndicated out into experiences where they can be consumed to extract value. So the most common ones are predictive analytics. So I have all this historical data. So the example I always give is that I have a chiller, which is a critical piece of equipment. It's very expensive, and I have a vibration sensor. And that vibration sensor is telling me it is vibrating quite a bit. I can use statistical process control and analytics and historical data to say, you need to go service that now. It has an 80% chance of breaking in the next 30 days, so you should go out before it becomes an expensive thing. So having this data platform and historical data allows us to run models that gives us predictive analytics. Optimization. So I know when people are coming into my building. I know what temperatures are throughout the day. I can say, hey, you know what? You should turn on and put a new set point on your thermostats in all of these rooms at 5 a.m. because everybody starts arriving at 7. So the environment will be perfect for them, but you don't have to run it all evening and all night. You can turn it on at 5 and shut it off at 9 p.m., save energy, save time, and still have an optimal experience for the people when they're in there. So this optimization and insights can be given to me through AI and ML. The other one is natural language interfaces. So as consumers, we're used to now being able to ask ChatGPT and in business, I used Copilot a lot at Microsoft. I have to have like an LLM or natural language interface say, what are my most underutilized and overutilized spaces? I want to ask you in a natural way and have that AI model return those results to me, not only with actions I should take, insights, but actions I would take. A good example for us was we had small focus rooms of 5 people, and they were way oversubscribed. But we had 20-person conference rooms in a hybrid world that no one was using. So the AI said, hey, you should take a 20-person conference room and turn it into 3 5-person focus rooms. You'll get better utilization, you'll balance supply and demand, and it's a small tenant improvement, and you'll improve experience. People won't get frustrated that they can't find the appropriate space. And then the other thing is, in a hybrid world especially, if you're combing M365 or whatever your resource planning data is, I can ask it in a natural language, hey, I only come in 2 days a week. What day are my colleagues coming in? Because if my whole point of going into the office is to meet up with them, what is the best day for me to come in the office? And can you book us a room, right? So these are agents. They're natural language agents. I can ask natural language questions to get human responses, and it gives me actions and offers to service things like booking a room or ordering food for me or reserving an EV parking spot. So those are where, on a smart campus and smart buildings, we see the most usage, those different scenarios: predictive analytics, optimization, natural language type interfaces, and insights for individual and team productivity. And I think I'm at time, so I really appreciate sharing all of that with you. It's a pleasure. I look forward to learning, and if you have any questions, I'll be around. So happy.